Creating a character is something special. If you never played D&D before, you're not going to understand it. If I had to describe this feeling, I'd compare this to maybe your first kiss, your wedding day, or even getting a call from your stepfamily telling you that your wife has gone into labor and is on her way to the hospital as you speak. You get emotional, you get super excited, and hang up the phone. You tell your boss that you're going to clock out because your wife is in labor and that you want to be present for the birth of your firstborn. But your boss interrupts you and says, "If you leave, you're fired." His reasoning is that it's rush hour and there aren't enough workers on shift. Time stops. You don't know what to do. Do you prioritize your family or do you prioritize the job that pays your bills? You're already in $25,000 in debt from your wife's liberal arts degree and you got bills to pay. Food, mortgage, utilities, the car payments, gas, your phone bill, insurance, and everything else. All of these questions, concerns, and doubts race through your mind in a fraction of a second. You look up at your boss and tell him, "I quit." You take off and rush to the hospital. It's about an hour away from your current location. You step on the gas, driving 20 miles over the speed limit. But suddenly, you hit traffic. A horrible accident has blocked a 2-lane interstate. At first, you're angry. Then, as the minutes slowly pass by, you begin to get anxious. After 2 hours, you still haven't moved an inch. You've given up all hope and decide to close your eyes. For the first time in a long time, you begin to pray. You pray and plead with all your heart to God, asking Him to let you make it there on time. As soon as you finish praying, traffic starts moving again. You can't believe your eyes. Tears start streaming down your face, and you begin to believe that maybe there really is a God watching over you. You step on the gas again. Every second counts. The closer you get to the hospital, the more anxious you become. When you finally arrive, you look at the time and realize that you've been on the road for almost 3 hours trying to get there. You jump out of the car and run through the entrance. You rush to the front desk and ask the nurse what room your wife is in. She looks up and she looks annoyed. After what feels like forever, she finds an answer and tells you the room number. You sprint down the hallways until you finally reach the room. But before you go in, you stop at the door to collect yourself. You take a deep breath, turn the handle, and walk inside. Your prayers have been answered. She's still in labor and hasn't given birth yet. You rush over to her side and grab her hand. You tell your wife that you're here. You encourage her, and you thank her for everything. And finally, you apologize for not making there sooner. And at that exact moment, the baby is delivered. You hear the baby start crying, and you start crying too. You kiss your wife, the doctor smiles and says, "Wow, you have a beautiful, healthy baby boy." He carefully carries the baby over and gently places him into your wife's arms. As the doctor places the baby in her hands, you both make a shocking discovery. The baby is a shiny. She cheated on you. Your heart sinks, and your wife ends up divorcing you because she can't live with the guilt. She takes half your money, the house, and the car. Then she leaves you with the $25,000 to pay off. Now, you sleep on the park bench every night and eventually become addicted to hardcore drugs. Until one day, you look in the mirror and you can't recognize yourself anymore. You're tired of the pain. You're tired of the weird looks people give you. You're tired of hating yourself. You want everything to finally stop. Then you make a decision to finally end it. To finally end your pain. To finally end your suffering. You start improving yourself. You start working out again. You work harder than you have ever done before. You find a great job. You meet the love of your life. You start a family. And for the first time in a long time, you're truly happy. So if this is your first time creating a character, you may underestimate how important it really is. So think about it this way. This character will hopefully survive the entirety of your first campaign. If they do, by the end of it, your character will have gone through countless adventures, they'll have faced life and death situations, overcome incredible challenges, potentially made decisions that could have gotten the entire party killed, experienced bizarre encounters, creating unforgettable memories, and finally fought an epic battle that ended the party's journey. And when that day comes, the campaign will finally come to an end. And something strange happens. You realize that you've become weirdly attached to your character. You'll remember them down to the tiniest details because they were your very first character you ever played. The dumb mistakes they made, the inside jokes with the party, the impossible dice rolls, NPCs you befriended, the enemies you hated. These are the memories they helped create. Because they weren't just another character on a piece of paper. They were your character. Matter of fact, your very first one. And the chances are, you'll never forget them. Now that you understand the importance of creating your first character, let's go through the process of making one. Creating a D&D character, there's at least 6 steps that you have to follow in order for you to play it. So for the first step, you will have to choose a class and a species. Your class determines your role in combat, your special abilities, and any primary stats your character relies on. So for example, you can play as a wizard, a rogue, a fighter, a bard, a sorcerer, and whatnot. Now picking your species, this grants innate traits like dark vision, increased movement speed, and other unique racial features. So you can play as a human, an elf, a dwarf, a dragonborn, and so much more. So picking your class and species, this is basically your foundation of your character, so choose something that sounds fun to play as. For the second step, to determine your character's ability scores. In D&D, there are 6 core ability scores: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And to determine your ability scores, there are multiple ways to get your ability scores for your character, but I'm going to explain the most fun way. You're going to get 4 6-sided dice and roll them. After that, you drop the lowest die, add the remaining 3 together, and repeat this process 6 more times to generate your 6 ability scores. Keep in mind, you want your ability scores to benefit the class you selected for your character. For example, you want high strength if you're a barbarian, and high charisma if you're a sorcerer. Personally, I like this because this is more in the theme of D&D. You're like rolling for your character. Some people make an incredibly powerful character or a hilariously terrible character. For the third step, you had to choose a background for your character. The background explains who your character was before they became an adventurer. So maybe they were a criminal, maybe they were a noble, or something completely different. The background you select for your character grants additional skill proficiencies, languages, starting equipment like gold, and depending on the group, you could probably get like a bonus feat if you negotiate with your DM. For your fourth step, selecting your character's equipment and spells. Your class and background helps determine what weapons, armor, tools, and other starting equipment you have. If you're playing a spellcaster like a wizard, a bard, a cleric, sorcerer, warlock, you'll be choosing your starting cantrips and first level spells. Also, keep in mind, don't stress out too much over these choices, because as you continue to play, you're going to get stronger equipment, stronger magic, and better gear throughout your adventure. For the fifth step, you're going to be calculating your numbers and modifiers for your character. First is your armor class, or your AC. This determines how difficult you are for enemies to hit, and it's based on your armor, dexterity modifier, and sometimes other abilities. Next is your hit points, or HP. This is your maximum health and is determined by your class's hit die, along with your constitution modifier. Finally, you'll have to write down your proficiency bonuses. At level 1, you'll start at +2. Whenever your character is proficient with a weapon, skill, saving throw, or tool, you'll add this bonus to your appropriate rolls. As this character levels up, this bonus will continue to increase as well. For the final step, adding personality and a backstory to your character. This will help bring your character to life. You're going to choose a name, decide an alignment, think about your character's personality traits, what ideals do they believe in, what keep them motivated, flaws hold them back. These little details help transform your character from a sheet of paper into something that actually feels alive. And after you completed all 6 steps, make sure you check with your DM, your dungeon master, before finalizing your character, because your DM is going to ensure your backstory fits naturally into their campaign and maybe tie in parts of your history into future adventures. And just like that, you officially created your very first D&D character. Now all that's left to do is roll for initiative. But that's it for the YouTube video. If you guys enjoy, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. My wife, where? My kids, my family.